Good afternoon. Welcome back. We are going to take the next 45 or 50 minutes and talk you through the process of activating a business within the RTPark program. And let me give you a little bit more information. So during earlier segments, we gave you a lot of information on programs like our accelerator program, which we call AVI, which is for promising early stage firms, as well as the pre-AVI program, which is really the primer that preps promising firms to enter the AVI program. So those programs are really designed for companies that are pre-revenue or are not generating more than, let's say, $500,000 in revenue. What we want to delve into during this segment is how you go about entering the territory or expanding within the territory through our program for more mature companies, companies that would receive tax benefits through the RTPark program. And so Siobhan Chopra is going to lead this discussion. Siobhan is the Senior Manager for Business Development Operations for the Research and Technology Park Corporation. And so in this role, she does a lot of things, a number of different things, just like other core staff members at the RTPark, but she really serves as the connective tissue between and among the client companies looking to enter the RTPark program and derive the various levels of benefits that we offer, members of our board of directors who approve what we call park tenant agreements, which Siobhan will explain, and also the lawyers who represent those companies. So Siobhan has been doing this for a long time. She's the longest tenured of the senior members of the RTPark team. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the agenda over to Siobhan.
Thanks, Peter. Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Before I get started with the presentation, just a couple quick things. Of course, we will try to do some Q&A at the end, so put your questions into the Q&A box. Anything I don't get a chance to answer in the session, if we run out of time, I will contact you afterwards. Second of all, I'm going to be referencing a couple documents. They're all going to be accessible on our website, uvirtpark.net. You'll be able to go to the downloadable documents tab, and you'll be able to access things like our full program guide, the full list of tax benefits, and the list of attorneys that are familiar with the program. So check out our website because all that information is there. So we'll jump right in. So this is your business attraction team. You've met all of us during the previous session. So of course we have Peter, we have Eric, who introduced our keynote speaker today, Matt, who has moderated a couple panels, and myself. We head up your business attraction, business development team, and of course we have a couple other team members who assist us as well. So let's start with what the RTPark gives you and what the RTPark does for you. So first, our core value proposition. So why should you come here? Obviously, we have a very lucrative tax incentive program, so that tends to be what draws people here in the first place. And you can't beat the location. Who doesn't want to work on the beach? So that's a big draw as well. And the third is something that was referenced in the previous panel, is the ability to really make a difference here in this community, because we are a small community. A business that comes here and starts here really can make a difference and really can make an impact because of our size. So having a company come and hire 10, 15 people seems small in other places, but here is actually fairly significant. So you can really make an impact in the territory by bringing your company here, which is always a good thing. benefits that you receive as a client, in addition to, of course, the tax incentives. We have our Access to Capital program, all of these things Peter referenced in earlier presentations. We have office space here in our HQ, as well as our co-working space in downtown Christiansted that's available for RTPark companies to use at no charge for a period of time. We do site selection as well, so if you're looking for larger spaces, we'll connect you with realtors. We have a project in place where we will eventually have office space, so we can help you out in that realm. The partnership with the university, I'm going to come back to that in a future slide because we haven't really touched on that in the summit yet, and it's a very important part. And then, of course, your access to the people, the community, other entrepreneurs. You know, right now we have 78 clients in our traditional program, and we try to make sure that you can be connected in different ways to all of them, so you have a network, an immediate network already. And then your tax incentives, if you can see the slide, it's written pretty small. But like I said, if you go to our website, under downloadable documents, you can get the full list of tax incentives. But just quickly, you get obviously your 90% tax reduction on your corporate income tax. There's exemptions on your excise taxes, exemptions on real estate property taxes, exemptions on gross receipt taxes, and the list goes on. A big one, too, to keep in mind is that if you are a USVI resident or you have shareholders who are USVI residents, and you give them distributions, or yourself as an owner distributions, you also receive 90% tax reduction on that, on your personal income taxes, but you do have to be a resident for that. Okay, so let's talk about what the application process looks like. So we are a small and very nimble organization, and we try to get you through as quickly as possible. Our goal is 90 days, and I will tell you these days we're doing it in 60. So we have board meetings once a month, and we pretty regularly can get from one section that requires board approval to the next within 1 month. There's 3 stages. So the first is a screening and pre-application. So this is really where you're going to meet with Matt and his team. Just make sure you're a good fit. Make sure that we're a good fit for you. You know, and the territory is a good fit for you and that kind of thing. Once you've made the decision that this is the program you want to be with, we get into the term sheet development. That's where we codify everything. That term sheet goes to the board. That's the first place where you will go to our board. We are a self-governed entity, so the approval process all goes through our board of directors, which is nice. It allows us to be nimble. And then the third stage is the formal application process, which is where we dive a little deeper into your business entity and yourself. So let's go a little deeper there. So the first thing that you're going to give to us is your business profile. This is what allows us to see who you are, what your company does. So the big parts of that, of course, is a description of the business that's going to be here in the Virgin Islands. A lot of times what companies do is have a business that is established in the States. In fact, a lot of the time that happens because, as Peter said, the way the program is set up is for companies that kind of have an established revenue stream already. So what those companies might be doing is bringing a part of their business here, or ideally all of their business here. So we want to know about what the company here in the territory is going to be doing. We want to know about your industry. We, of course, want to know about you, the owners of the entity, who you are, where you're from, what you do, what your passions are, why you have your business, all of that good stuff. We delve a little bit deeper into your background in that formal application process. Workforce analysis. We don't have a strict requirement for the number of employees you have, but we do want to know what you think you will have, and if you do have a plan, what that looks like, what that growth trajectory looks like as well. Of course, we want to encourage you to have as many employees here in the territory as possible, though it's not a requirement. And the fifth part is your financial projections. So we ask for 5 years worth of financial projections on the business here in the territory. And if you've been established elsewhere, we want to see 3 years of the financial history as well. These numbers are what we use to put together the actual terms for the term sheet itself. So it is an important part of the application. And then we jump into your term sheet. So your term sheet outlines the financial terms, which I'll talk about in a sec. It also outlines your commitments to the university, and it summarizes your business. So this term sheet goes to our board of directors. So we want to make sure everything is in it that they will need to approve you. So let's talk about the terms. I'm not going to go too much into detail because the reality is it's based on your financials. So without knowing that, I can't really give too much specifics. There are guidelines. So if you look at the program guide, which is on the website, it'll give you an exact kind of, exact box kind of thing that we work within. But within that box, we have flexibility based on what you're doing and the size of your business and your revenues and that sort of thing. So first, we have an application fee, which is given early in the process. We do things in-house for a couple of items, the background checks, the tax analysis, that kind of thing. So that application fee helps cover that. We have an initial certificate fee, which is a one-time payment that's paid at the signing of your final park tenant agreement. There's an annual management fee, which is the substantial part because it's what carries through the whole term of your agreement, which is 15 years. I do want to emphasize the equity stake because, I want to make sure that people are clear on it. We are required by mandate to hold an equity stake in every single company. It's what connects you to the RTPark and allows us to flow the tax benefits through the RTPark Corporation into your entity. So we have to have it. That being said, it's what we refer to as shadow stock. It doesn't give us access to extra dividends. That's the big thing.
No distributions.
And distributions, quite right. There's no distribution requirement that's attached to it. So we're not going to request management fees as well as distributions. But on paper, we do have a stake in your business, and it's very small, minimal. But for some larger companies, that's obviously an important thing to keep in mind. And then there's a buyout fee. If the contract you terminate earlier than the 15-year period, there's a clause for that as well. And then lastly is the UVI partnerships. And this is, I think a really exciting part of what being part of the RTPark is, the connection with the university. So all of our companies are required in their contracts to commit to the university in two different ways. The first is pretty straightforward, scholarships and/or internships. You can donate money annually, which goes into the scholarship fund, or you can hire an intern. And if you hire an intern, whatever you pay that intern offsets the amount that you would have otherwise put into the scholarship. So if you have the plan to hire an intern anyway, this is really great because you can use that need to offset the amount you would otherwise donate to the scholarship fund. The second part is where it gets fun, the programmatic commitments. So this really varies company to company. What's involved in this is a meeting that all of the company principals have with the president of the university, where you sit down together and you talk about your business and you talk about your passions. He talks about the university, what its focuses are, what its needs are, and through those conversations, you come up with an area within the university where you want to donate time, money, whatever that might look like. So, we have some companies who do straightforward things, like you're a tech company, so let's donate some money to the computer science program. We have a strong entrepreneurship program here at the university, so a lot of companies do donate time and money into that program, and there's some really great things that have come out of that. Leon Hughes, who you have met, I think, a couple times, donates to and started our hackathon that's done through there, and he has been really foundational in keeping that program going and getting it up and running, so that kind of thing. But then we have companies, of course, who do a little bit less traditional tech. For example, we have a company who does electronic music production, and there was nothing like that existed in the university when they came on board. So their commitment was to help fund and create a music programming certification program. So that being said, this really gives you an opportunity through these commitments to kind of tailor something that will directly benefit your company. So if you have a need that you don't see, you can create it. And through that, you're giving yourself a direct pipeline out of the university. So these tier 2 programmatic commitments can be very exciting and very lucrative to both you and the university. So once your term sheet goes to the board of directors, you, of course, are going to get approved, hopefully. But we have a very good track record. Our business development attraction team makes sure that what we're presenting to the board is a strong application. So once you get through that, we go through our formal application process, which includes formal background checks on anyone who is an owner of the USVI entity. As I mentioned earlier, owners of the entities are eligible for tax benefits themselves, so it's very important that we know, and also we just want to know who our owners are. So we do formal and background checks, and they're real background checks. We request all your entity information, of course. You know, we need to have it on record, your business license, your articles of incorporation, all that good stuff. And then we do a third-party tax analysis. So Greg, who you met in the panel yesterday with me, is from the Build Group. And the Build Group is retained by the RTPark to do these third-party tax analysis. So what him and his team are doing is they're looking at your business and looking at the VI code, which is what created and establishes the RTPark itself, and making sure that you're in line with the VI code so that your business fits with the RTPark. And if he wants to make sure that your business plan is going to result in revenue that's sourced here in the Virgin Islands. So that report comes out of the Build Group, also goes to our board of directors. I think it's important here to note that the Build Group is retained by the RTPark, so it is definitely 100% recommended that you have your own USVI tax attorney who represents you as yourself as well. And there is, in the program guide and on the website, a list of attorneys who are familiar with the program on all 3 islands. So we have people that we can recommend to you. And then you get to your park tenant agreement, and that's your legally binding document. So this is where we put everything together. We summarize, well, I say summarize, in detail. This is a serious document, 60 pages long. We're working on that. Everything that goes into your term sheet, everything else. And then that goes back to the board along with your background check reports and along with the report from the Build Group for final approval. Once you get through the final approval of the board, you are part of our family. Welcome. So immediate next steps. So let me just say, so that's it, really. There's not much to it. Like I said, we aim to do it in 90 days, but often do it in less. So, we're quick. We'll go as quickly as you want to go. So if you are ready, we're ready. So contact us and we'll get moving. So that brings us to our immediate next steps, which is we will, of course, arrange follow-up with anyone who has registered. We have a list of panelists or a list of attendees, so we will reach out. Please reach out to us, and we will set up some meetings to talk about it a little bit more in detail. And if you go back and refer to your program guide, which is on the website, you will get all of this information in much greater detail. So Nats, that's it.
Thank you, Siobhan. That was excellent.
I hope that was thorough.
And concise, and I know that you could do this in your sleep. So I'm sure that Siobhan's presentation not only sparked some interest, but also may have generated a few questions. And so we will obviously take questions, if there are any, over the next few minutes, but we certainly encourage you out in viewer land to contact Siobhan to delve more deeply into the client company activation process, as we call it. So I think Anna is bringing over a couple of questions.
Thank you. Who to call if you're looking to be an RTPark client company? I mean, me or Matt. Yeah, me or Matt. If you, so all of our email addresses is our first name dot last name at uvirtpark.net. So in your Whova app, you'll see our names, of course. It's first name dot last name at uvirtpark.net. And Matt and I are who you would reach out to. Second of all, what notable businesses have started in the RTPark?
What notable businesses? Gee, I'm not quite sure what, how you describe notable, but I can tell you about some high impact or potentially high impact businesses that have recently made the decision to come to the territory using the RTPark Corporation as a vehicle. So you heard from the CEO and co-founder of N-Test earlier today, which is a fiber optics technology company, which we believe will add a lot of value to the ecosystem. You may have heard earlier from Richard Warburg, who is the founder of what's called Impact Traits, which is a sustainable agriculture company that's come up with a process that has an intellectual property on it for growing toxin-free root vegetables. You heard earlier from, I believe, JP Carrillos, who is CEO of Farm Shelf, which is another sustainable ag company that has pioneered a technique for growing fruits and vegetables in these big containers. So we have a number of companies that have very interesting technologies across a number of different industry clusters and sectors. And so I believe this information is on our website. We may not have updated it with the last 3 companies, but we have 78, as Siobhan said earlier, we have 78 client companies that are in our program for mature or traditional companies. And so I encourage you to look at our website, and if you have any additional, more specific questions about them, we would be glad to address them.
And I mentioned it yesterday at the tax panel because it was a question that came up that was not related to tax, but is exciting. At our last meeting, we approved our very first company who is minority woman-owned, Shoe Crazy Wine USVI. So you may know Shoe Crazy Wine from the States, but they have some new things that they're doing in the technology realm that they're going to be doing here based out of the territory. And Gwen Hurt is the owner, and we are very, very excited to have her as part of the family.
Right. So Siobhan is extremely modest, but a company like Shoe Crazy is very important to us, not only because of the uniqueness of their technology, but because we are making a concerted effort to increase the number of businesses in our mature companies program that are run by women and people of color. So Siobhan and other team members have really done yeoman's duty to bring companies like Shoe Crazy across the finish line. So thank you, Siobhan.
We're excited to have her. Is there special consideration for locals if they have a business operating outside of the USVI and want to come home? Yes, come home. We want you.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what this person means by special consideration, but we will do what we need to do to get you back in the territory. We want you here, you know.
Yeah.
So please, yes. For existing companies on the mainland, what is the process for relocating to the USVI and enrolling in the RTPark? I mean, I think that the couple of the panels today or yesterday combined kind of answered this. The process for enrolling in the RTPark is easy, you know, just what I outlined. So the process to getting your business set up here is also fairly easy. You know, you register your business, because you do have to create a USVI-based entity, is the same as you would anywhere else. So you just establish your business and get a license. You can do that through the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs. And then moving here is like you, I think you would, well, almost like you would move anywhere else.
So I would suggest to this, to this viewer that they simply contact you.
Absolutely, that's what I was going to say. So I will find the person who sent me this message, and I will reach out to you, and we'll talk a little bit about what it's going to look like for you specifically. It depends where you are and that kind of thing. So I will reach out to everybody because we want to talk to you all.
So thank you for the questions. This has been exciting. We are entering the home stretch. I mean, not to engage in cliches. So unless there are further questions, I think we are going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to do wrap up. And then for folks who are physically on site here at the 64 West Studio, our friends at Government House on St. Croix are going to do a little reception for you. So again, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you during the wrap-up session.